Welcome back. It's time now to get into football, and we'll begin with Netherlands versus Belgium. It was a friendly match and it was a 1-all draw. It's always exciting to see quality teams in action. Then we'll move on to England versus Scotland. That's not a friendly, it's a World Cup qualifier. And we'll see Wayne Rooney in action. He'll be captaining the England side. We'll begin with Netherlands and Belgium with our guests in the studio. I have with me Behram Kazi. Behram, great to have you on.
Always a pleasure.
And we've got Waleed Irfan. Waleed, great to see you.
Thank you so much, Ali.
We spent so much time talking about the Premier League and La Liga, and now we're talking about internationals. Let's start off with the Netherlands. Behram, I don't know about you. Maybe I'm a bit older, I'm not sure. But when I think about the Netherlands, I think of Bergkamp and Davids and Van Nistelrooy. Talk to us about this Netherlands side. What makes them so strong? What makes them tick?
Well, honestly, like you said, it's a team on the decline because ever since, Arjen Robben and Van Persie both are very old now. And it's hard for them to fill those shoes. I mean, they've got some new players coming up like Davy Klaassen, who is the captain of Ajax and scored against Belgium. But they're lacking a lot of resources in the midfield and defense, and which will hurt them. Like they didn't even make the Euro 2016, so that's something. But Belgium, on the other hand, is one team which is definitely on the rise.
I think Netherlands, more often than not, Waleed, given the kind of teams that they've had in the past, more often than not, I think they've underperformed. Okay, yes, they made one World Cup final. That was against Spain, wasn't it? That was against Spain, which they lost. They fought really hard. But given the kind of talent that they have, kind of players, they should be doing a lot better consistently. What do you think?
After the World Cup, I think they have been constantly on the decline. They were a fantastic team back then. The names you mentioned, they are world-class players and they dominated the international football and the club football as well. But nowadays, we are seeing that, just like Behram is mentioning, that they are missing the key players, which, changed the game around all of a sudden. Van Persie, like we saw in the World Cup, his goal against Spain. These kind of moments you expect from the players, and this time around, we don't see anyone with Netherlands who has the quality to, change the game around.
Is aging a bit of a problem, as Behram pointed out?
We could see that Arjen Robben was also on the bench, and Van Persie wasn't even in the squad. So I think, and they have a new manager with them now. It's Danny Blind, who is the father of Daley Blind. So I think it's Netherlands are on the right. We have to give them time and transform. I think they're in a transformation phase once
Talk to us about Belgium now, Behram. They've got some fantastic players, world-class players. They were missing some though in this game. What makes them so dangerous? And let's remember they did underperform in the Euros, which we didn't expect.
I think that's going to be their biggest regret because this is by far Belgium's best ever team. And they were under Mark Wilmots in both the World Cup and the Euro. And they got knocked out in the quarterfinal stage, which will disappoint them because both were very, very good opportunities to actually get further in major tournaments. But what makes them special is the amount of young talent they have. Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, the list keeps going. I mean, Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen, plus in the new management of Martinez and assistant coach Thierry Henry, I think you can expect good things from Belgium. But when you haven't been somewhere before, it's hard to get your first time. So Belgium will need to crack that code, and I mean they have to get there once to just set the bar.
I mean, those names that Behram just took, that's why we thought, Waleed, Ali Mehdi was here in the studio when we were covering the Euros, and he believed that Belgium would go really, really far. But why they underperformed, I don't know. What do you think?
Ali, the main reason I find that they couldn't perform was inexperience, lack of experience. I think they need experience at the international stage. They haven't got much experience at the international stage and they haven't performed very well at the international stage like he mentioned. So I think they need a bit of time. I think they have quality players who can change the game around in a flash. Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, he came off the bench, but I think he was very unlucky last night, he couldn't score. Then with him, I think one player which I'd like to mention is Carrasco, who's been fantastic for Atletico Madrid. And he's a fine player. So I think, unlike Netherlands, Belgium have a lot of game changers who can change the game.
So Carrasco, De Bruyne, Kaku, Hazard. I mean, I don't know. You guys know more than I do. How much time have they spent together? How much time have they spent playing together? Because if they haven't, then Waleed is absolutely right. They need to learn a little bit more about each other's games.
Well, Waleed was absolutely spot on when he brought up inexperience, and that is true. All of these players are young and they've yet to achieve all of that's expected of them. And in the World Cup, they were new guys. They hadn't been on that stage before, so it can be frightening. But now they've built up some experience with those 2 quarterfinal experiences, so they can actually build to a solid lineup towards the World Cup 2018. And the star players would definitely be Hazard, and there's some solid backup in Yannick Ferro Carrasco. We saw in the Champions League how he scored that equalizer for Atletico Madrid. So yes, they have big match players, just a bit young. They will peak though.
Right. Just out of curiosity, I used to support the Netherlands during the World Cups. Who is your favorite Dutch player?
Always Iron Robin.
Yours?
I'll go with Robin as well.
Really?
Definitely, yes.
I still remember as a kid watching the 98 against France, and I remember Bergkamp was my favorite. He was amazing.
Bergkamp was a quality player, Ali. I think that his first touch, I think I've never seen a better first touch than him. I think he had the best first touch in football, and the first touch is the most important part while playing football. I think your first touch is you allow the other players to, take the ball away from you, or you just control the ball with yourself and have the opportunity to take it forward. So I think
he's an absolute freak from
definitely.
what I remember, yeah. Let's move on now to the qualifier. England versus Scotland. Wayne Rooney will be captaining England. That's like, the major story. Rooney's coming back, old warhorse Rooney. But since he's come back, he was dropped, remember, by Mourinho. And since his comeback, he's been doing quite well. So that should give him some confidence going into Friday's game.
Well, the only way I see Wayne Rooney fit into the side is if interim manager Gareth Southgate goes with a 4-2-3-1 formation in which Rooney plays just behind Jamie Vardy, who has never actually played as a central attacker for England, which is really baffling to me because he needs that space. Roy Hodgson, England's former manager, well, before Sam Allardyce, he always used to put Vardy on the left where he is restricted. So I would love to see Jamie Vardy in a central attacking role where he gets that space to do what he does best, score goals.
Why not Harry Kane? Sorry to interrupt. Why not Harry Kane?
Well, Harry Kane has just gotten back from injury, so I would rest him for now. But yes, I mean, Scotland is a weaker opposition. And when are they ever going to try that? I mean, they've never, ever tried Vardy as a central attacker. So I think this is the best opportunity to do that with Wayne Rooney right behind him and Sterling and Lallana on the flanks, Eric Dyer and Jordan Henderson in the middle.
Talk to us about England's formation, what England's formation should be. Behram that analysed it quite nicely, I thought.
I think Ali 4-4-2 suits England. I think the players that they have, I think they are used to a 4-4-2 formation. With the fullbacks they have, Kyle Walker, Danny Rose, even Nathaniel Klein. I think they are fantastic wing backs. And
Ali is injured, isn't he?
Who, Dele Alli?
Yeah,
he's injured, yeah. So these players, I think they are extremely fast and extremely pacey players to have on your flanks. Other than that, you have Raheem Sterling up front, who is also a quality player and loaded with pace, loaded with quality. Similarly, I think that Jamie Vardy or either Harry Kane, I think if I was the manager, I would use Harry Kane because he just scored a goal and I think he is motivated and encouraged to, back the goals. Yeah. On the other hand, Jamie Vardy is struggling this season, so I'd definitely go with Kane.
You see, they need to have a manager now who I think is a little more settled, more disciplined in his thought process. I know, I mean, there's so much pressure managing an England side. Ericsson, I went through hell, I remember. But Hodgson, during the Euros, I mean, he was a little too hyper for my liking. He was making too many changes, and there was one game where it was just one player after another, replacing another and another. It was just a little bit of nonsense. So they need a manager who's, I think, more level-headed and can, most importantly, keep a cool head in a difficult situation.
Well, Roy Hodgson's appointment in the first place was very, very surprising given his horrible spell at Liverpool, and he wasn't even very successful at West Brom. And like you pointed out, these are very embarrassing times for the FA, English FA, because of that loss to Iceland in the Euros. And then, well, as we all know, Sam Allardyce got sacked after one game after that sting operation.
What happened? I don't read the news. What happened?
There was a sting operation in which he was bribing some officials, and he was only in charge for one game. The media was overhyped and very excited about Sam Allardyce as manager, and then he had to resign because it was very, very embarrassing.
Surprisingly, he has a 100% record with England.
The only English manager to have a 100% record. One game, one win.
Now, a little bit about Scotland before we talk more about England. Behram, you said you knew something about the Scottish side. They're on the decline as well. What can they do to surprise the English?
Well, massive decline. They're the only team in the UK that did not make the Euros. And the most experienced players they have in the team are Robert Snodgrass, who actually scored for Hull over the weekend against Southampton. And then it's Stephen Fletcher and Darren Fletcher. So yes, there are not a lot of big names. Both, and also Naismith.
Naismith as well, yeah.
Naismith and Stephen Fletcher both play in the Championship now, so that's not Premier League quality anymore. And I don't think Scotland fair a good chance against England. That is exactly why I would like to see Jamie Vardy in an attacking role.
Waleed, your final thoughts before we end?
Ali, I think Scotland should go the safer route, and I think they should be, going to hold off England and get a draw. I think that's the best result for them.
Absolutely. Well, let's see what happens. We have to leave it at that, gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
It's
a pleasure. That's all we have time for. Keep watching Sports Extra on PTV World. See you next time. Bye-bye.